Can everyone see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes? Do I need to turn it at all for anyone?
No.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to class today. My name is Sarah Webb. I have a master's in professional counseling through Liberty University. I'm also a licensed professional counselor candidate in the state of Colorado, and recently got certified as an attachment-based intervention specialist level 1. As of now, I'm working on a doctorate in education in community care and counseling with an emphasis in traumatology, which leads us into what we'll be talking about today. We're going to talk about self-regulation and trauma. Our learning outcomes today are finding out what the why is for what self-regulation is used for in trauma, why it's important, the health benefits, what it can do for you, and how it also is able to apply to your clients and yourself. We're going to talk about the challenges with this. We're going to identify a couple of different intervention strategies, which we're going to do interactively as a group. There are 3 of them. I'm going to stress you out a little bit, and then I'm going to try to bring you back down. And afterwards, we are going to discuss your comfort level and where you're at with utilizing these strategies with your clients. This part is interactive, self-regulation. What is it? I am going to type in what everyone's understanding is of this. I will pick on you by calling on you, which means, Rachel, what is your understanding of self-regulation?
It's a way for you to calm yourself down.
Okay, way to calm yourself down. Corey?
Becoming more relaxed in a stressful situation.
Okay. Laura?
To renew my mind.
Okay, good one. Terry?
Oh, wow. They took all my answers.
Well, doggone it.
Just self-relaxation.
Yeah, relaxation. From top to bottom?
Head to toe.
Head to toe. Okay. This is our initial what we think. We'll come back to this. And we are going to watch a video on self-regulation skills. This video in particular applies to students, but the concepts remain the same across age groups. It's the same for kids as it is for adults, and it defines it a little bit for you.
Successful people have strong self-regulation skills. They use them every day. The skills help them consciously direct, sustain, and shift their attention when necessary. They help them monitor and manage their thoughts, behavior, and emotions in this complicated world of ours. 3 of the self-regulation skills, known as executive function skills, are cognitive. These are used to monitor and manage attention, thoughts, and behavior. A 4th self-regulation skill is the ability to monitor and manage emotions. These skills are not inborn, but they are teachable, and we depend on them every day, especially when the going gets rough. Just like adults, when students are upset or angry, it's hard for them to use their executive function skills because their strong emotions take over. This can also make it difficult for them to listen, remember rules, and stay focused on learning. So, learning to monitor and manage emotions allows students to recognize their strong feelings and use strategies to calm down. Then, they can use their executive function skills again. And research shows students with strong self-regulation skills have higher academic achievement and are less likely to act in impulsive or aggressive ways, or to withdraw when overwhelmed. They're also more likely to get along well with others and have strong social skills. Students with poor self-regulation skills can have emotional and behavioral problems and academic trouble, and are more likely to be expelled from school, starting as early as preschool. When students learn and practice self-regulation skills, they can build academic achievement social competence, and positive growth throughout their lives.
Going back to this, anything new you learned about what self-regulation is? We've had calm yourself, relax in stressful situations, renewing your mind, relaxation head to toe. What else did you get out of that?
Allowing ourselves to control our emotions to be better.
Okay, so a mindfulness about your body and what your emotions are doing to yourself. Okay. Rachel, what do you think?
More of a way to think about what you're feeling, like being present in the moment.
Okay. Present in the moment. How about you, Terry?
Just kind of step back and take a minute and think.
Yeah. Almost like
before
taking it
you react.
outside,
Mhm.
being able to step out of a situation before reaction. Okay. Laura, what did you notice?
I just noticed the benefits of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it,
Mm-hmm.
which takes us into our next slide, which
Oh.
ironically is the benefits of it.
Very well. Who knew?
So-
Okay.
All right, very good. The benefits of self-regulation are very great. People who don't know how to self-regulate typically have a higher incidence of depression, anxiety. Suicide risk goes up by 15 times the normal risk for people who don't know how to self-regulate. People who need medications, a lot of self-medicating behavior comes out of individuals who can't regulate. You'll notice a lot of individuals who struggle with this use substances to calm themselves down. For individuals who can't regulate the ability to get happy, they'll typically take a substance that gets them up. And self-regulation is something that we do all the time. I mean, when you think about it, exercising, you start to run, you're breathing heavy, and then when you get off the treadmill, what do? You walk around, you start to regulate your breath. So we're born with a natural ability to self-regulate. This applies to people who have trauma and maybe need a little bit more help. When they can self-regulate, you feel more social connectedness with people. Because if you're freaking out and you're like this, you can't really interact with anyone because you just don't want to be social. And then an overall satisfaction in life. If you feel in control of your life, you enjoy your life. You don't feel like your life is controlling you. There is higher self-esteem, higher confidence in what you're doing. You don't feel anxious going into anything. Lower incidence of mental health challenges, better concentration. People who can't regulate, you can't use your brain. Have you ever had a moment where you were so emotional, it's like you just couldn't think? You couldn't put stuff together. There's greater empathy. When you're regulated, when you're out of regulation, it's a very self-focused place to be a lot of the time. Because all you're thinking about is, I'm freaking out, I. When you're regulated, you have an ability to connect with others and empathize with where other people are at. And it's not such a self-focused place to be in. And a longer lifespan. People who are regulated have better heart rates, blood pressure is typically in order, they're not anxious all the time, their thyroids aren't dying off, they don't have adrenal fatigue. It's kind of a big deal. So people who can calmly go through life typically get to live longer. Now, how does trauma affect us? Has anyone here known someone or experienced trauma yourselves? Everyone does. Trauma is described as a deeply distressing or disturbing event, an injury, a disorganized or disordered mental or behavioral state resulting from a stressful incident, and typically times it's incidents. Trauma isn't usually just a one-trick pony, it's one that you interact with a lot. A lot of the effects of trauma, as you can see from this, are shame, self-hatred, panic attacks, eating disorders are big, insomnia. People with trauma have a really hard time sleeping. And when you're sleeping, what do you feel like? really grumpy and you're not really wanting to do anything in this world. Intrusive memories, nightmares, you startle easily, hypervigilance. Trauma is something that's a big deal, and everyone's experienced or has known someone who has. So how does trauma affect the brain and the body? Trauma is your emotional brain driving a car while basically it's got your reasoning brain locked up in the trunk. When you're feeling traumatized and emotionally dysregulated, your body is doing this and your brain is doing this, and the reasoning is in the trunk screaming, just let me out, I can help you, let me have the wheel. And emotions going, nope, I can't let you do it, because if I let you do it, horrible things are going to happen, and then it just goes crazy. It's an inability with trauma to concentrate, feeling scattered, forgetful, brain fog, lost. A lot of individuals who have PTSD will show you that they feel foggy. They just kind of blank out. And you'll ask them where they're at, and they just, check back in, and they don't remember the fact that they went out. It's an inability to regulate their vitals, rapid heart rate, blood pressure that rises and goes down, vision and auditory disturbances. Those are really tough. A person who has trauma, if they are wandering around and they're kind of going through their day, and then all of a sudden they just hear, it freaks them out. And it's something that terrifies them. Whereas the typical person, as you guys all saw, you were startled initially, and then you went back down, and you were fine. Trauma is something that also creates an inability to connect with others. You withdraw. A lot of times that's because there's an embarrassment about it. And you also believe that no one understands how you're feeling, because most people don't. It's hyper-arousal, easily startled, anxious, fearful, flashbacks that will simulate the experience, which will throw you back into it. So if you were in a firefight in some sort of war scenario and something triggers you into that, your body and your brain will flash back into that moment, and your body will start experiencing all of the fear and the panic that you had when you were actually at the traumatic event, until you self-regulate and snap out of it. Has anyone seen the movie American Sniper?
Yes.
Okay, with American Sniper, I'm going to show you an example of trauma and how it can come about. So he just comes back from the war, for those of you who haven't seen the movie. He was a sniper, he's seen a lot of action, he is back in civilian life and struggling very heavily with PTSD. Here he is at a family party for a kid, and he is zoning out. It opens with him zoning into a flashback and what happens with him.
Saturday. You know, he's the tallest kid on the team. Doctor said he'd be 6'4". Isn't that insane? I go so crazy though when there are kids jump on him, like I knew they were love it. Hey, we need to even coach, you know? Hannah's gonna lose that tooth and I'm so worried she's gonna swallow it in her sleep or something. And she said she'd let you pull it, but only you. Would you do that?
Kind of a tough scene, right? What did you notice on this list that was present in that?
Lost.
Lost.
Checked out.
Yeah,
Kind of brain fog?
yeah.
He was definitely hyper aroused.
Very hyper aroused, absolutely.
The flashbacks.
Oh yeah, flashback, he was there. I
Yeah.
mean, staring at a television, there's nothing on it.
Right.
What I want you to do now is I'm gonna pass out some boards for you with paper on it. There we go. For a moment, I want you to just write a couple of answers to these questions with the previous clip in mind and also your own experience. What do you believe is the role of, say, self-regulation in trauma? What stresses did you notice in him that were a result of needing to be regulated? Big one here is point 3 as well. What do you believe is a shared trauma or stress that we experience in our culture? And it creates problems in our culture. An example of that would be the work ethic of westernized culture. Like in Spain, in the middle of the day, they take a siesta and they relax. They don't have as much anxiety over there. Here, we have a couple of issues with that. All right, go ahead with whatever you do have and still have yet to finish. Turn to your partner next to you and talk to them about what your answers were.
I only got the first two.
No, I don't.
Yeah, trying.
Yeah. The first one here is talking about
Self-regulation.
if she was using to get back into control. Self-regulation. Let you
Be in the present, be
gain
able to function
control
well.
over everything.
The
And
day-to-day.
then, like, second part, definitely was feeling agitated by the activity level at that party.
It was,
Step
that's,
back, breathe.
and he was, so that word is perfect, agitated. I was like,
As you could see him, he was,
and he was trying not to, but it was, that's, yeah. What could, occasionally use self-regulation, to help bring back the individual to normal. What stresses do you have? I noticed intensity. Just
yeah.
cute and vigilant.
It's a shared trauma or stress.
Hyper awareness. Because that's how it was always had to be.
Well, by self-regulation.
I'm too really attracted to it. That I was gonna say that if it's not because of the kids that I work with. They can teach them to blow the candle, like.
Okay, everyone,
recognize the sense of symptoms of that.
come back in here.
Yeah, it's interactive.
What did you notice? What was something that was shared or maybe a common theme that everyone observed together?
We both acknowledged that he was like agitated by.
Agitated, great word, yeah. Agitated's perfect for that. Just that very, anything can tick them off.
He had intensity, like a vigilant, is that the right word?
Hypervigilance, yeah.
Hypervigilant of awareness, because that's the life he had been leading so much to constantly.
Yeah, to be, because if you're
Pick
not
up
aware,
on
you die.
Everything, exactly, so
Yeah.
it's this high angst.
Fight or flight.
Super sensitive to like the noises or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the dog's just playing, and then what happened to him? He immediately goes into protect mode.
Yeah.
What did you say, Corey?
Like fight or flight mode.
Yeah, yeah. He's just, his vagus nerve is just in a constant state of, I'm ready to just do anything I need right now. Okay, now that you've seen that, those were great observations. It is time for me to stress you out a little bit. Okay. Here we go. Corey, Terry, will each one of you pick up a weight in front of you, please? Until I say stop, you have to do something with that. I don't care if you do curls, if you just hold it, but whatever you do, you have to hold on to that weight. You guys, enjoy. Okay. Go ahead and put your weights down. How you feeling? How you feel right now?
Just a little like,
Heart's going.
Yeah. Heart's going. Describe the feelings you have at this moment. Anyone tense?
a little bit.
A little tense?
I feel an anticipation of some. I
You
I'm
feel like you're waiting
like
for something.
waiting for something else to happen, and
Well, it doesn't help I was behind you beating
I know, but
a can.
I just feel tightened.
You feel tight? Okay.
Yeah, tight.
How about over here? What do you guys feel?
Tight.
Yeah.
Not good.
Stressed out?
Yeah.
Is anyone's heart rate or breathing just a little dysregulated right now?
Just a little
Just
bit.
a touch. Okay. That takes us into calming down. Let's calm down.
Great idea.
All right, first one's gonna be, I'm gonna lead you in a breathing exercise. This is the first of 3 interventions that I want you to learn how to use. So the first one is a breathing exercise. You can keep your eyes open or shut. I highly recommend that you keep them shut. It does help. What I want you to do is I want you to put your hands on your stomach. Okay. Now, when you breathe out, your stomach should actually go out. And we're in a constant state of keeping tightened, which is why our shoulders go up when we breathe. But good breath, our stomach goes out a little bit. I want you to breathe, and I want you to pay attention to your breathing. I want you to pay attention to the feeling of your stomach. I want you to pay attention to air coming in and going out. Relaxing your shoulders down. I want you to take a deep breath in, hold it, slowly exhale it through your nose and your mouth. With a breathing exercise, the calmness doesn't come from holding your breath, it's the regulation of exhaling it. It's one of the reasons why they recommend singing to people for calming down, because singing requires you to control how air comes out of yourself to sing. Okay, next exercise, we're going to do all 3 of them back to back. Regulating your movement and heartbeat. In a larger room, what I would have you do is stand up and walk around the classroom. We don't have that size today. But what I do want you to do is keep one hand on your stomach and probably take your right hand and put it over your heart. Now I want you to do this. You can say it out loud or say it to yourself. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And do that until I tell you to stop. This is creating a rhythm with your heart where it will want to start mimicking what it's hearing. They notice this with infants when they're held closely to their mommies. Their heart rate mirrors their mother's heart rate. Their breathing mirrors their mother's breath. Your body already knows how to do this because it was taught how to do this in utero. Down on your thighs, get comfortable, plant your feet or foot firmly on the floor. Close your eyes. I want you to be aware of the pressure that your feet are on the floor. I want you to feel where the pressure's coming up and what part of your foot. I want you to relax your shoulders. If it helps, some people can't really relax entirely, so they have to tighten up, so you tighten every muscle of your body. And you hold it, and then you relax almost like you're melting. I want you to feel like you're melting. I want you to feel weights on your shoulders that are pulling them down, relaxing them. I want you to think about what you're hearing. I want you to concentrate on a sound in this room. I want you to concentrate on a scent in the room. Your body feels, if you need to stretch or wiggle your spine a little bit to get comfortable or ease into your seat a little more. And then whatever sense that you were concentrating on that gave you the most amount of peace, I want you to hold on to it. And remember, breathing, regulate the air coming out of your nose, coming out of your mouth. All right, slowly open your eyes, look forward. How does everyone feel right now?
Better.
Better? Do you notice a change in your body from before we started and now? What do you notice?
I'm looser.
You're looser,
Not
your muscles are
tense
not
up
tight.
anymore.
Okay,
Calm.
calm. Just don't feel as agitated. What would you see would be a challenge in using these kinds of techniques to self-regulate?
Environment.
Environment, very big. If you are a mother of a bunch of toddlers and they're running around screaming, it's kind of hard to woosa. What's another challenge you could face?
The age of the person that you're trying to,
Yeah.
their understanding of it.
Yeah, the understanding of the client.
Okay.
Another challenge can be the amount of time sometimes it takes. You can do these things in little bits and calm down. Usually it's better if you can do it for longer. So to recap what we learned that self-regulation is a needed skill to successfully navigate our world. It is taught before we are even born in utero. We know how to do these things. We know how to breathe and calm ourselves down and regulate ourselves. There are many mental health and physical health benefits to it. Trauma is a challenge, and it can be assisted with self-regulation in order to do symptom management, and it is very helpful for individuals who have PTSD. After our exercise, you learned that everyone can use self-regulation, and you use the self-regulation that works best for you. On top of that, I want you to know that this is something that is not big in time. You don't need 20 minutes for it. You can also just kind of do 5. You can do 2 in the car, whatever it is, and it's very accessible wherever you are because the only thing you need is yourself. All right, how confident do you feel on a scale of 1 to 5 that you can use these regulation techniques with a client and know what you're doing?
4.5.
4.5?
Probably the same, 4.5.
4.5?
Yeah.
4?
4.
4. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming to class, and I really appreciate all of your interaction and what you did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.